Alright everybody, Baron here, so welcome back to Call of Duty WW2. Now, what you're going to be seeing in this video is War Mode. In War, it's the new game mode, and it's rather fitting, and it's thematic, and I think it's a pretty nice addition to Call of Duty as they go back to their roots, WW2, World War II, right? So, there are 4 phases in this new mode, War Mode. The first is what you're going to be watching, and we're going to go over the others as we progress. So, in the first section, the Germans are defending the stronghold. The Allied forces are attacking it, right? So, in the first phase, this stronghold mode, you're fighting in close quarters around basically this building you're seeing here. People are popping in windows. MGs, shotguns are pretty nice, right? So, it's close quarters fighting. It's pretty intense. The second mode, or the second phase rather, of War Mode is where you have to build a bridge. The Allies have to build a bridge, the Germans have to defend it, and it's kind of intense, right? So in this video, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going over this mode, and then I'm going to be addressing kind of all your comments and feedback in the last video we put up, which I gotta say, the good thing is everybody's very passionate and you know, one way or the other on Call of Duty World War II. But you gotta remember, at the end of the day, this is Call of Duty. This is the modern Call of Duty games. It's not the Call of Duty that I know and love, because I'm an old man. Call of Duty 1. Oh my god, that was my favorite, right? Look at this bayonet. But see, this is close quarter stuff. Everybody's in this room running around. The M1 Garand sounds amazing, I will say that. You got this semi-automatic shotgun, and there's those ragdoll effects. So another thing to keep in mind is when you're watching this mode, you gotta keep in mind that E3 is all about showing things off. So it's not like this is balanced, finished, polished. This is a playable build for people to play on the show floor and for content creators to, you know, play behind closed doors. Man, that is just nuts. So this is not my footage of the event, right? I got to play it a little bit on the show floor. I got to play regular multiplayer and a little bit of War Mode. Pretty fun. Look at that guy just running in. See, this is just intense. It's just close quarters. So what we got about 20 minutes of footage here to show off today. In the next mode we're gonna see is the bridge building thing. But so one of the biggest comments and most voted for comments in the last video was that the female soldiers are really immersion breaking, right? It's a lot of people are pretty mad about that. So here's the thing, right? And this is the way I'm looking at Call of Duty World War II. Alright, so what we're seeing right here is the defend the bridge mode. We're gonna get into the female soldiers in just a moment here. It's gonna be kind of going back and forth. So in the build a bridge, you're gonna see, this is German defense. This is just Sniper City, but you saw that guy with the little wrench and you saw the little planks going down. It goes up in sections. Machine guns, snipers, it's kind of like you're fighting over this kind of river, and with the bridge being in the middle, and everybody's just shooting back and forth. The Germans can build and deploy MG42s, and it's all about snipers, machine guns, and honestly, once people started figuring out smoke grenades, if you're trying to build a bridge without smoke grenades, you're pretty much boned. Like, I don't know how you're gonna be able to do it. You gotta totally just destroy the enemy team in terms of gunplay, and then like have your guy just up there unmolested building the bridge, right? But you can see that it's pretty intense, and it reminds me of a little bit of you know, the final scene in Saving Private Ryan. Obviously, you know, without the Kettenkrad in the Panzers, and, you know, Jackson in the bell tower. Who doesn't love Jackson in the bell tower? But yeah, so there's the bridge going up, and you can see the sniper should be taking his shots a little bit faster. He totally missed the guy building the bridge. And there is a Panzer, but it's not working. That Panzer is not working, unfortunately. But there's one of the MG42s, and you can just kind of build them. There's people throwing smoke grenades, gas grenades going off like that. So you can see that there's a progress bar to kind of show, you know, where it is, like where the bridge is in its progression of being built. What do you guys think of the MG sound? You like it? I do know I love the M1 Garand reload. I think of all the sound effects that I heard, that was my favorite. I mean, and it's got to be perfect. You got to think about it. Like, Call of Duty is big budget game. The gun sounds have to be as good as they can be. It's just the way it's got to be, right? And that helps to build immersion. Going back to the female soldiers, like, a lot of people were mad about that. And this is my thought. It's just the times we're living in. A lot of people were, you know, triggered by female American and German soldiers. The Russians used them. The Americans, I think, like, in terms of infantry, I'm pretty sure that the Americans did not. I think the Germans may have near the end of the war. Who knows? They used old men and children. Child soldiers? I don't know. But, and, you know, and then another thing was just the use of female African American soldiers and African American soldiers for, like, you know, factions like Germany, right? And I mean, you gotta think about it. These are the times we're living in. In multiplayer, I think it's just gonna become more of the norm, right? Will it break immersion? This is Call of Duty, guys. Call of Duty multiplayer is not about historical accuracy and true, you know, historical immersion, right? Look at this sniper, man. Jackson behind the truck. Drop him, Jackson. Mr. Flash Thunder. Gotta love it. Gotta love that 1903. But, I mean, so here's my thing. In multiplayer, I think we just gotta accept it for what it is. I mean, it's kind of like societal progression, right? Oh, come on. Yeah, that frag grenade, though. But here's my thing. If you're playing, if you're playing the campaign mode and you're fighting in the Battle of Bastogne, and you look behind, like beside you, and you see a an African American woman soldier fight next to you, I could totally be like, I could totally understand this breaks the immersion because you're trying to recreate a historical battle. And Call of Duty campaign is something that I am very, very much looking forward to. Very much looking forward to. I'll be honest, multiplayer not as much. War mode, yes. I'll play that. I'm wondering how long it can keep me interested. I'm wondering if there's going to be different game modes, if there's going to be game modes with vehicles, because while we're still on phase 2 of this war mode, the bridge builder, there is the 4th mode where you have to escort a tank, and the tank is on rails. You don't get to control it. And it's actually kind of strange in terms of, like, you can't control it. You can be the gunner. You can fire the Mod Deuce, that 50 cal belt fed on the top, but you don't get to drive it. It's pretty interesting. In the 3rd mode, we're gonna see next is blow up this supply depot, right? So basically, this American Sherman tank has to get towards these German flak guns, anti-aircraft flak guns, and take them out so that, you know, the strategic bombers, which you can see flying overhead, and you can see the flak guns actually firing overhead in the background to kind of build this atmosphere. You know, like that's the objective, to allow these American bombers to come unmolested and you know, bomb their targets, right? You got to take out the flak guns. And hey, another thing is, like, people were saying, like, I don't understand necessarily why people are getting mad about it, is like, why aren't there any German swastikas? Where are the Nazis? Where are the swastikas? You have to understand that while for most of us in the States, you know, and especially this generation, like this time and age, people are like, oh, Nazis, you know, whatever. Well, you gotta understand that is a symbol that is outlawed in Germany. So if you're the developers of the game, I totally understand it. Oh, do we want to put swastikas in the game and then have this game banned in Germany? I wouldn't. That's like terrible business. And the second thing is, like, there's a lot of people that are rightfully triggered when they see swastikas. You have to understand, like, what the Nazis did. Not the Wehrmacht, you know, not the Germans, right? Well, you know, there's many there's many factions of Germans, right? And there's many different levels of participation in genocide. It's something that that's another thing you just gotta accept, man. I accept it. I'm okay with it. I don't need swastikas, you know, to be like, wow, this is so immersive, right? Oh, look, there's the Sherman. Here it is, baby. So this Sherman's coming up with this little 75. And now it's fall back to the ammo depot for the German defenders, and the Americans have to destroy it. Phase 3 has just begun after the Americans have finally built this bridge. Now you can see that it's pretty intense. So if you're one of those people that's worried about your KD ratio, I'm actually curious how this mode will affect that, because some people who are like stat whores, you know, I totally understand it, man. Everybody's got their thing that they like in a game. And so I'm wondering if there will be statistics overall, or if it'd be negatively affected, because in certain areas, if you're attacking or defending, you're gonna have higher kills or higher deaths, right? So stat padding or ruining your stats theoretically could be possible. I'm very curious to see how that is going to be handled, right? So in the supply depot, when you gotta blow it up, the defenders can build physical barriers and walls, and the allies can use explosives to blow them up, as you just saw planting the TNT. But eventually, you know, the objective is to destroy the supply depot as the allies, right? That is phase 3. We're gonna get to see all 4 phases in this footage. Look at those bombers going down in the background. You know you gotta feel, hey, I gotta destroy these flak guns, right, in order to let good old American strategic bombers, flying fortresses, get through and bomb their stuff. So, going back to the swastikas, man, dude, you don't know, like, how many people are just, like, seriously triggered. Like, it has an emotional effect on a lot of people. Like, and I think it's warranted triggered. Oh, get him with the bayonet! Yes! That guy had a gas mask on. Love it. So, I mean, but when you look at the sights and sounds, it's still, when you see the Iron Cross, that German cross, I say, I know who I'm fighting. I don't need it to be a swastika. I don't know, that's just me. And I understand that certain people are like, oh my gosh, like, it has to be perfect. And, you know, we'll agree to disagree, man. But I don't think that's the big issue. I don't think we're gonna see female soldiers, German female soldiers, for example, fighting in the campaign. Although every now and then, you know, in some of those, like, what, Wolfenstein type games, you see those really intense, like, German super women who, like, you know, Helga, the super German lady who's like some mad scientist or whatever. But man, look at that machine gun, man. I love the twin drum mags on the sides there, and the reload, and then the frags and the suppression. That's Call of Duty, baby. That's what it is. Drop them. But yeah, so I know that a lot of people are arguing immersion breaking things and how they're triggered, and I can understand that. In multiplayer, people were pointing out that, you know, MG15s, which weren't in use by 1944 and stuff like that, being played at certain times. You know, immersion breaking multiplayer, I don't think that's not what COD multiplayer is all about. I'm just saying, man. But yeah, like, looking through these comments, the big thing is female soldiers. I don't know, man. I think the telling moment to see if we're gonna have immersion breaking stuff is the campaign. Obviously, there won't be swastikas. So, swastikas, female soldiers, and, you know, like, African-American soldiers for German factions, you know, because the Nazis were racist. That's just facts. The Nazi party, like, as a whole, were racist. Like, that was their program. Genocide, man. That stuff's crazy. So, I don't know, guys. There's definitely arguments for and against both, but when you're a game developer, you know, I theorize, because I'm not a game developer, that you have to balance a lot of things. And I think when you look at it like, hey, you know, society right now, look at that guy firing the MG. Oh, nice, dude, this guy's going ham. M1 Garand with a bayonet. There we go. Phase 3, Phase 4, they escorted the tank. They're knocking out the German 88s. And the mode goes on. So, the one thing I'm disappointed about, this is war mode, and it's a very objective-based mode. So, key thing about that, I got distracted with what was triggering everybody. In tank escort, you escort the tank in order to be victorious as the Allies. In the Germans, you have to kill the people around the tank. Look at that. What do you notice about this tank? It's not using its hull-mounted machine gun. It's not using its coaxial-mounted machine gun. It only offensively fires, really, when there's a player on the top of it using the 50. And look at that. He can get killed. He can take out his enemies. I mean, hey, But when the tank has infantry support around it, it will move forward. When it doesn't, it will retreat. The tank is on rails. It's scripted where it can go, where it's going to go. You can't kill the tank. You gotta kill the guys around it. Do you guys remember when they put tanks first into, like, you know, the Call of Duty games? And they were fun and you could play them and use them to your heart's desire? I kind of miss that. I'm hoping that if they're calling this war mode, right? So when I think of war mode, I think of like total war, man. Ooh, the shovel. I'm thinking that you're gonna get to use tanks, use vehicles, use gun emplacements. It's gonna be a bigger battle, but I'm one of those guys like we all got our thoughts and opinions and what triggers us, and I'm one of those guys that loved Call of Duty 1 and 2. Those were my games. Those were my games, and did I love them. So, hey man, the tank on rails is something that kind of triggers me. But if it's for an objective mode, it could definitely be like a fun mechanic, right? I could buy into it. But by them saying this is war mode, I worry that I won't get that like total war and like really, really big type of battle that I would be really looking forward to playing the most, as is my personal preference, right? Everybody's got their own personal preferences. That would be mine. And I don't know if we're gonna get that. Obviously, we're still, what, 5 months away from launch, so we have to keep, well, a little bit less than 5 months away from launch, so we gotta keep that in mind. Things can and will change. You know, we don't really know the game modes, but I know for me personally, I'll be getting this game and I'll be playing campaign. I'll dabble in multiplayer, and if I find a mode that I can really immerse myself in, I'll play it. But I'm really looking forward to the campaign. Now, that being said, if there's some immersion-breaking things in the campaign when they're trying to recreate some truly epic and historical battles, I will be upset about it. I just can't see them doing that. I really can't see them doing that. You know, it's like one of those like politically correct things, like, okay, we're gonna have female soldiers and we're gonna have different, you know, races, right? Even though I'm one of those idealists who's like, but there's only the human race, though. You know, but hey, everybody's different. Look at that guy getting wrecked, man. I wanna see, ooh. I'm curious, like, all we're seeing is the Germans and the Americans. I'm wondering what other, ooh, big old B-17 going down in the background. I'm wondering what other nations are gonna be in, what are gonna be playable. There is the perfect example of a player who's getting on top of that 50 cal and using it to pretty great effect until you get counter-sniped. And look at that. How many people are triggered right there? A German with a 1911. I know you're triggered, guys. And Americans with MG15s. Hey man, it's not the campaign. I think they're just saying we don't have to be historically accurate for these game modes. We just gotta make them fun for our mass audience. And when you think about it, like, there's a significant difference between games like Battlefield and Call of Duty. They're both going for different things and for different audiences. Oh man, but yep, I understand that on this community is primarily oriented towards, you know, the historically accurate and stuff like that. But just as in life, you gotta try to put yourself in the shoes of the developers and understand that, like, you might not be the audience they're going for, and that's just gonna be something that you might want to Panzer Shrek to the face. Oh gosh. And there's another thing, like, maybe there's so much outcry about, you know, the weapons that they might change it. I don't think they would, because there's weapon parity, right? They're going for weapon parity in multiplayer. In multiplayer, I think, like, objective number 1 is fun, and closely aligned with that is you know, balance. So if there's different weapons for different factions and you want to be historically accurate, then certain factions, like, oh, Germany, are gonna have the you know, the Sturmgewehr 44. But ladies and gentlemen, those are my thoughts. Let me know what you would do, what you would add, what you'd like to see Call of Duty do, change, what you're excited for. There's those flak 88s going down, and good old America P-47s flying overhead. Ladies and gentlemen, Call of Duty World War II War Mode, as told to you by the ever ADHD and caffeine-infused BaronVonGamez. I hope you did enjoy it. Now, as far as what to expect from me, I'm going to keep up with the development of Call of Duty World War II. I know for a fact that I will be very interested in playing the campaign and, you know, completing it and seeing what it's all about, because that's definitely an area where I have always been impressed, and I've always enjoyed the Call of Duty campaign, specifically the World War II ones, and, you know, and the original, like, Modern Warfares. I always like that, man. They do some really cool stuff, and it's an interesting way to see, you know, what it may have been like to, you know, be a part of these big epic historical battles. Now the campaign, from what I understand, is going to be on Big Red 1. They were all over the place, man, so it should be exciting. They've already done a Call of Duty Big Red 1 game, so I'm actually kind of really curious to see how that all plays out, right? But hey, man, that's where I'm gonna be. As far as multiplayer, I tend to personally gravitate towards big open battles. That's why I eventually kind of moved away from Call of Duty myself and more into games like, you know, Battlefield. I like the big open Battlefield feeling. Like Twitch-based shooters, man, like that's not necessarily my skill set. There's some people that are amazing at it. It's not something I'm good at, you know. So, hey. Call of Duty World War II, excited to see what happens. I'll play it. Multiplayer, still unsure about. War mode, still kind of unsure about. Am I excited for it? Am I open to the possibilities of it being good? Yeah, but I need to see more. Anyway, guys, my name is Baron. Thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts, opinions on Call of Duty World War II and just other games. Like, there's some other World War II shooters out there that you guys have been mentioning, so if you want me to check them out, let me know. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Baron. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.